So let's talk about the portfolios. Where are you with that? Have you implemented them? Have you?
Um, I haven't really because it ended up being such a short little thing.
Okay.
So I was more gonna do like a wrap up on the last day and have them collect all of the work they've done throughout the week.
Okay.
And kind of compile it with as they make those as they track their progress between the interim to the practice test.
Okay. So just some suggestions for that once you do. Um, Maybe like if you could create a guideline. Like, is this something? Would you like the portfolios to continue, or just because when we're talking about having students be responsible for their own learning, do you think that this is something that should continue into the next? Because it's not probably good. This probably isn't going to be the last or the standard, the only standard that they're not collectively getting. So outside of this, if it's not the portfolio, what is going to be done to ensure that the students are being responsible for their own learning and saying, this is, what I did to improve, or this is what I did to not improve, or, how are they tracking and how are they being included into their own progress?
Yeah, so I think I will have them compile this work into a portfolio or folder of some sort,
and then students will track their own progress. And then we also talked about how we can implement more efficacy amongst the students, and how you were going to implement the portfolios and track their data, and then have them in front of them so that you can have meetings with them and they can action plan and basically know where they are on the standard and how they've improved. Okay?
Yeah.
So where do you think you, how much fidelity have we accomplished with the action plan?
So I used this week because of last week's trips and everything, kind of delayed a little bit. But starting Monday of this week, we started the little mini theme unit before we started the play. So Monday we reviewed theme a lot, and I talked to them about the standard, like the data from the interim and the reasons. They agree that they know manager versus theme. And so we talked about how they're getting questions wrong because they're not picking the correct theme. And a lot of them actually came up with the idea on their own. It was because they weren't understanding what they were reading enough.
Okay.
So Monday we actually did some of the things in the action plan. We looked at a lot of images. So we talked about how you can get theme from like paintings, and we didn't use any cartoons, but we did different paintings. And basically they looked at each image, observed everything they possibly could, which they did pretty well with. So just like what do you see literally in the picture, and then what can you infer, which worked well because that's another standard thing to improve on anyway. And based on what they inferred of what they saw, so for instance we looked at American Gothic, so they observed everything they saw in the people, and then they made inferences about who the people were, why they were looking the way they were. And then they were they basically were creating like a message they got from the painting based on those inferences they made. So then we moved from paintings to, we looked at song lyrics on Monday as well, and 2 poems. And then yesterday, like you saw, we moved into more short stories, starting with the fables, and then going into more just straight up stories. And I think that on Monday it helped them because the images were, I think it just helped them to not have any words in front of them.
Right.
And think about theme in that way. I think the songs and the poems helped because they were actually interested in reading.
Right.
And then yesterday the fables were a good way, I think, to transition into actual text because they're so straightforward. The messages are so clear. And but then they needed to take a step back kind of and realize that theme isn't necessarily like a lesson, it's not a moral. So moving from the